Hi everybody. Now we're going to do question 127. So let's read the question. Which do you think is better for the environment? To build fewer factories or to create more wildlife preservation areas? So let's go through some of the words in there. First of all, which is better for the environment? So what is the environment? That means that the area that surrounds us, particularly the natural world, the air, the trees, the forests, the rivers, nature. These are what we usually describe as the environment. And it gives us two options. Which one is better? Which do you like more? The first one is build fewer factories. Fewer means less. Factories are those places where they make things like cars and tables and almost everything we use. So we all know that factories make pollution, right? They release smoke into the air, they release chemicals into the soil or into the rivers. So if we build fewer factories, that would improve the environment, right? And now the second option is this one. To create more wildlife preservation areas. That's a hard one. First, let's take these three words separately, each word, and we'll find the meaning of this phrase. First word, wildlife. Wildlife means wild animals. Animals that don't live in your home or on a farm. They're just wandering around outside in the forest or somewhere. These are wild animals. Birds flying are wild animals. If you go to the mountains and you see a snake, that's a wild animal. And we have the word wildlife to describe this. That includes animals, insects. So that's the first word, wildlife. Second word, preservation. This comes from the verb to preserve. Preserve means to keep something safe, to keep something, to preserve it. If you keep something the same, then you are preserving that thing. We usually use this word, or we often use this word. Maybe you don't know this, but long ago, they didn't have refrigerators. So they had fish, and they needed to keep it preserved, not changing, not going bad. So they put salt on it to preserve it. Now, to preserve our food, what do? We put it in the freezer or in the refrigerator, and that preserves our food. So here we're saying we want to preserve the wildlife. We want to keep the wildlife. And then the last part, area. Area just means some space, some geographical space, some area where we can, in this situation, preserve the wildlife. So a wildlife preservation area is an area that we don't build on. We don't make any factories, we don't make any homes, we don't make any roads. We keep it just the same, like a big park. And then people can go there and visit or go hiking, and the wildlife in those areas is preserved, it's kept. So, just to summarize, here are the two options again, because it's quite difficult. First option, build fewer factories, or create more wildlife preservation areas. Those are our two options. Now let's look at the sample answer and see what they said, and that'll make things easier for us to understand. Let's begin. I believe we should build fewer factories rather than create more wildlife preservation areas. So again, they are giving us their thought, their answer to this question in the first sentence. You should do the same. And you can use this sentence. You can use this same sentence. If you think the other way around, you can just change it. I believe that we should create more wildlife preservation areas rather than building fewer factories. You can change it like this. Anyway, let's continue. We have a fundamental problem with pollution, and it is because we create too many things we don't need. Difficult sentence again. A fundamental problem. Here, fundamental means a very big problem. A problem that causes many other problems. Something that is fundamental is something that is basic. It's at the bottom of something. It's important for other things. For example, when learning English, a fundamental step is to learn the alphabet, right? You can't learn English well without learning the alphabet first. That is fundamental. It's basic. It's at the bottom. It's the first thing you should do. So here they're saying they have a fundamental problem with pollution. I would agree. Let's continue. Creating wildlife preservation areas will not solve the problem. If we build fewer factories, we will at least slow the gradual degradation of the ozone layer and our natural world. Some difficult vocabulary in here. You can use these in your answer if you can understand them. We will slow the gradual degradation. Gradual means little by little. And degradation means getting worse. So little by little, it's getting worse. So if you think about the environment, the air quality, it's not getting better, right? It's getting worse. But it's not getting worse really fast. Like Saturday, not bad, and then Sunday, everybody dies. It's not like that, right? It gets a little bit worse, a little bit worse, a little better, and then a little worse, a little worse, a little better, a little worse, a little worse, like this. This is gradual degradation. And what is being gradually degraded? The ozone layer. The ozone layer is the layer, the chemical layer surrounding the Earth, and it protects the Earth from the sun's radiation. Oh, this is difficult, right? So imagine, here is the Earth, and around it is a layer of what is actually gas and chemicals. And when the sun is shining, right? When the sun shines on it, a lot of the radiation, the things that can harm us, reflect, they bounce off the ozone layer. If the ozone layer is destroyed, all of that radiation will come in and cause us problems. We'll get skin cancer, people will die, the plants will die. It's really not good. So we need to keep this ozone layer. And the thing that helps destroy the ozone layer, that will gradually degrade the ozone layer, is the chemicals and gases and pollution caused by factories. So that's why this person says we should build fewer factories. Anyway, let's continue. In addition, now remember everyone, this is something I often stress in my classes. You can, in your answer, say first, blah, 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 second, blah, blah, blah. However, something else that I would suggest is first, blah, 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 and then use one of these transition words. In addition, furthermore, like this. Anyway, let's continue. In addition, factories produce a lot of air pollution, which reaches everywhere on Earth. Smog doesn't know land boundaries. And if we build wildlife preservation areas while building more factories, the animals will eventually die off anyway from lack of oxygen. So they're saying that it won't help to make these wildlife preservation areas because they will get polluted too. So in conclusion here, to conclude, I argue that we should build fewer factories. So everyone, this is quite a difficult question. So when you are doing your answer, when you are making your answer, try and think about what are the bad things about factories? Or what are the good things about building more wildlife preservation areas? Or vice versa. Are they effective? What are the problems? And this will help you with your answer. And if you get stuck, you can use parts of this answer or ideas like pollution and land boundaries. You can use those from here and it will help you. Okay? So good luck everybody, and see if you can finish this question.